Hello everybody and welcome to DPW 2023 in Amsterdam, the most influential tech event in procurement. This is the 5th edition already. My name is Emily Zipson and I'm excited to be here to learn from this ever so fast growing industry. In a moment, I'll be speaking with several special guests to hear all about their latest developments, learnings and ideas for the future. Let's get started. My following guest has a lot of experience in the internet, finance and tech industry, which means he's very good at starting businesses and managing them. He's the co-founder and CEO of Candex, responsible for business innovation, product development and growth strategies. And I'm very happy to speak to him today. Jeremy Lappin, welcome. Now tell us a bit about Candex, what it does, and how you came about this idea.
Sure. So we call Candex the fast track because it's a very fast way to engage and pay for tail spend or one-time purchases in a highly compliant manner. And it really helps organizations handle small payments to large numbers of little vendors. Payments under $100,000 a year or something like that. It can vary by country. How we came up with it is sort of an interesting story. We didn't start Candex to do this. It's a bit of a story, but basically we were building a chat tool, almost like a Slack or a Microsoft Teams. And our chat had an add a payment feature in it. So if you think of a chat and you click on the paperclip to add a payment into that chat, we had another option, which was add a payment. And a user at one of our clients, Pfizer, clicked on that add a payment button and added a very big payment into the chat to pay one of their vendors. And we were very surprised that this happened, and then spoke to them and understood that it would take a very long time to have onboarded that vendor. It was a one-time vendor, and we had given them a very compliant way for a very substantial amount of money to get that money out to that vendor. And so we really doubled down on that problem, focused Candex on that specific, solving that specific pain that we identified in the market, and the rest is history. So since then, it's been very, very consistent growth around that payment piece.
Right. And how has Candex transformed the B2B payments landscape, and what unique value does your fintech platform offer to procurement professionals?
Yeah, I do think Candex has been quite transformational. I think this is a problem that no one knew how to address before we came along. There's really only one other way to quickly pay a vendor without going through a full onboarding process, and that's a credit card. But a credit card has a lot of other problems because you don't have an order acceptance, you don't have an accepted invoice, you have reconciliation challenges, tax challenges, and our methodology doesn't have any of those problems, and it works with their most trusted P2P process, which is why I think we've succeeded. And so having a way to handle these small and one-time vendors has really changed the industry by giving procurement the ability to give their business users, their clients, if you will, a way to deal with the pain that used to occur when they had to pay a small and one-time vendor. So if you think before Candex, I like to say the definition of bureaucracy was working at a large client like an HSBC or a Dell or a Pfizer, and having to pay a small vendor and feeling like you need to go through months of onboarding and figure out what went wrong and, try and go through whatever hoops you need to get a professor $5,000 for an event they just spoke at with you. And with us, those problems go away. It really strikes the heart of the bureaucracy and brings a product to the organization that the organization actually likes and appreciates. So we like to say it's the first procurement product that the business people actually like.
And are there any fun facts about Candex or stories that you'd like to share with our viewers?
Uh, there's a lot of fun facts about Candex. We get very excited about the type of payments we can support for our clients. Like we had a client, Colgate, that had a supply disruption for fuel for their factory in Mexico. And there was a freeze in Texas that had uh, cut off that supply, and they needed an alternative provider in 24 hours. And they were able to issue a PO to us to pay that alternative provider in Mexico and have that fuel delivered in time to keep the factories running. We also saw a lot of emergency COVID purchases. We see a lot of payments to even celebrities who are speaking at events, and so all sorts of very interesting use cases for what our clients are using to buy through us.
And what's the next big thing coming up in the B2B payment in the following 3 to 5 years, do you think?
I find it very interesting. If you look at the e-invoicing world, it's been 30 years since the invention of the sort of modern internet, and e-invoicing is still very, very poorly adopted around the world. And I think in the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to see e-invoicing actually start to get adopted in a meaningful way, where companies can exchange an electronic invoice with each other. And that's a capability that we have, that we bring to our clients, which they really appreciate, because without us, it's very difficult to onboard these small vendors and actually exchange an electronic invoice with them. So that's a big movement for the next 3 to 5 years.
How do you think generative AI will impact the space?
AI, I think within the procurement space, one of the most interesting uses for AI will be to help companies source new vendors using powerful computing to analyze enormous amounts of data and then recommend vendors who can provide very specific services and goods to people in all sorts of different countries in a way that before its invention wouldn't have been possible.
In the ever-evolving fintech industry, what differentiates Candex from other payment solutions available to procurement professionals, and how does your platform stay ahead of the curve?
Sure. So I think most procurement technologies help companies manage their own vendors. You know, it could be easier onboarding, it could be looking for vendors, and what we do is we make it so that our clients don't need to onboard vendors at all, which is a very big distinction. And so when you don't have to onboard a vendor, it means we're taking on the worry for regulatory issues, sanction screening, AML compliance. We put that through our processes and make sure it's done right. And it makes it so that our clients don't have to onboard these vendors. So a big organization, some of our clients are HSBC, Dell, Goldman Sachs, Roche. 3 to 5% of their spend is usually going to 89 to 90% of their vendors by count. And when they do it through us, it simplifies their systems in so many ways. It's even hard to imagine. So I think that's a pretty important difference between our product and other tools that are being sold into procurement. Ours also doesn't really cost anything to get started. And other solutions are very expensive, require big implementation processes, require consultants. So ours is really very easy to get rolling. And the other distinction I would say is it allows our clients to use their most trusted purchasing process, their P2P process, and retain all of the compliance steps that they dream of retaining. And most other solutions out there take visibility of what's happening out of their systems. And so that would be a pretty big distinction.
Yeah, I can imagine. Okay, thank you, Jeremy. Now, which successful partnerships or case studies can you share with us where Candex has significantly improved the payment processes and efficiency for procurement teams?
We have quite a few. We have clients like Dell and Sanofi that use us in over 30 countries and have removed an enormous percent of their tail from their systems and their requirements to onboard. We have clients like HSBC, which have basically insisted that only Candex can be used for low risk categories under a certain amount of money, and have seen reductions in their vendor master in excess of 50% already, and that's still growing. We have clients like L'Oreal, where we've enabled new methodologies of marketing because of the simplicity of enabling of onboarding and paying for different types of influencers around the world, different types of doctors that they want to work with. So it really is quite a few use cases. We have clients like Eaton, which use us to reimburse drivers who are charging electric cars, which they never could do, never had a good way to do without us. So there's just an enormous number of use cases. And, you know, for anybody who has a large number of vendors within certain categories of spend where it's particularly challenging, we will make it a lot easier to manage it in a compliant way and to give those vendors a really simple, easy experience.
So this year's theme at DPW is Make Tech Work. What makes tech work for you, Jeremy?
So tech is very hard to make work, which is why they have that theme. I think everybody struggles with it. And the problem is things have to be so simple and well designed for large numbers of people to use things properly. And procurement tools are not the most loved tools in an organization. It's not people's primary tool. And so you're asking lots of people in an organization to use a tool that they don't really care about. And that's what makes it so challenging. And we are proud to be part of this solution to make tech work. And we focus very hard and hire very talented people to make things as simple as possible so that users can actually use our technology without being experts. And I think that trend is well underway within procurement, and a trend that will continue because it has to, because any other way will fail. And that's, I guess, what I would say about making tech work. Make it simple.
Thank you so much, Jeremy, for this talk, and I wish you all the best for the future.
Thanks, Emily.
Wow, that future is definitely exciting and progressive. Thank you all so much for watching, and bye-bye for now.